Oh, we're ready? Oh, great. Good morning to all of you. And to all of the folks that are watching on Facebook as we return to live streaming. Those of you who were here last month know that we got bumped out of this room for the elections, the local elections, and had to do it in the library. And the library has a few issues with their equipment, and it made it very difficult. And really, it was one of the best presentations we've had. If you were here, Jared Smith, but we weren't able to record it. So we might do it again as an evening program or at some other time so that we can add it to our archive. Excuse me. Oh, this is a good way to start. It's not COVID, folks. It's allergies. Oh, goodness. I've done this for many years, and that's the first time I've had these things. I think what I'm going to do, because I saw him walk in, and that'll give me a chance maybe to recover, is to welcome Mark Young from the back of the room from Friendship Village. Mark is our, Friendship Village's marketing director, and Friendship Village, as you know, has been a long-time sponsor of this event, and I was actually doing some research. I think it's been about 8 years. So and we appreciate next season, they're going to up the ante to $100,000 a year. So please give Mark a warm welcome.
Thank you very much. Vic, you should get that. Yeah, you should get that looked at, Vic. 8 years. It's gone by so quickly, and we are in for another 8, hopefully, next year for sure, and we'll talk after that, Vic. Yeah. We love partnering with the Tempe Historic Society, and we enjoy these. These are very popular among the residents, and we hope to continue them in the future, and thank you. If anyone has any questions or want some information about Friendship Village, I'll be in the back there. Thank you, sir.
That was the shortest one, and I didn't even get a chance to fully thank you for the cough drop. Ricola, or whatever how that commercial goes. I apologize for the coughing fit. But we want to welcome you. This is our April lunch talks. We have one more next month because we've expanded the program to include September and May. And it used to be we were having trouble filling up the lunch talks, and now we've got so many great talks that we maybe should do it 12 months a year. But anyway, next season will be a terrific season of lunch talks. We'll get into that a little bit later. Today's program is kind of a special program because it's about a subject that most of us probably haven't thought about, and that makes it unique. We just when we think we know the history of Tempe and we know the history of Arizona, little things crop up that we had never thought about or never heard. And so I think you're going to find today's subject very interesting. And rather than have me introduce the speaker, I think you'll understand why I've invited one individual to do that introduction. Willie Mae Crosby, who happens to have some association with this gentleman. And I thought she would be the perfect one to do this introduction. Yes. And if there are any errors or anything, the respondent will be able to correct those things. So Willie Mae, come on up and look at this wonderful hat. This is great.
Good morning. How are you? and welcome. And I am on the board of the Tempe History Society. And as you can see, Vic has his couch tie on and he's full of bull, okay? Craig,
Thank you for that introduction. That was really wonderful.
you're welcome, Vic. Craig Crosby is our speaker today, and he's going to talk on Alex Dees, and we have a display over here, so please take the time to look at it and learn more about Alex Dees and who he was and what he did in Yuma, Arizona. So without further ado,
Explain why you're doing this.
why am I doing this? Well, the board decided I should introduce my son, but I didn't have a choice, okay? But let's get started because he has a lot of good information. And he was born in South Carolina, won't hold that against him, but he was raised in Tempe, Arizona, and he met Mr. Dees while he was in high school. So without further ado, Craig Crosby.
Thank you, Mother dear. Good morning. It is a pleasure to be back in Tempe, Arizona, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. And also, Vic, thank you for being choked up over this presentation today. So this morning, just to look at what we're going to take a look at doing, I'm going to share a little bit about who I am as the presenter, so you learn a little bit about me and the lens that I'm going to tell the story through today and just the perspective. I'm going to talk a little bit about the impact on agriculture and spend a lot of time on the Alex Dees journey and with a lot of pictures and a lot of history behind those pictures. And then we'll talk about the Alex Dees Memorial Foundation, the legacy that's left, and then we'll have a special video at the end. Oh. So, Tempe, Arizona. I mentioned I grew up here. This is a map, if you can see that close enough, Southern and Price. So down in the left-hand corner, there's a highlight on a house down there, 2331 East La Jolla Drive, Tempe, Arizona. That's the home I grew up in. You also see in the top right, Friendship Village. And so thank you for their support. Really growing up in this area, the Friendship Village has been a staple. Walked by there many times as a child, walking to the mall, and just the great community service that goes on. And so, again, very thrilled to be back in Tempe. Some other connections with Tempe. So this is a photo of my uncle Calvin Demery, who played football in the late 60s, early 70s at Arizona State for Frank Cush. So this is actually a picture from the 1971 Fiesta Bowl, where Arizona State defeated Florida State 45-38. And there you could read he's catching a touchdown pass from Danny White. And so very exciting. Again, just more of a tie within Tempe and the history. And I threw this in for fun because when you play wide receiver and you're a high draft pick of the Vikings, you get to wear cool outfits like this in the 70s. So that's my Uncle Calvin and my grandfather posing there right after he was drafted in 1972 by the Vikings. So more ties with Arizona State. Very proud that my father, Cecil Michelle Crosby, graduated from Arizona State in 1979. So on the left, you see a picture of him standing in front of our home in Tempe. And there on the right, you see a copy of his bachelor's degree. So certainly had a great influence on me. And when he passed away in 1986, this is a picture I always remember just in terms of standing outside of the home and the accomplishments that he was able to do at that time. Now, unfortunately, I did not follow in the family's footsteps and attend Arizona State. Following in my uncle and cousins and others' athletic ability we had in the family, I had an opportunity to go to San Diego State and play football, and so enjoyed my time out there. And although I didn't catch any touchdown passes, did have a few interceptions, and so certainly wanted to share that. But most importantly, really it was a great honor to graduate from college. And there you see Mr. Alex Dees, which we're going to talk a whole lot about today and this afternoon. You see my mother in the picture, and that's my nephew in the picture as well. So very special day, graduating from San Diego State with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration. So from there, I moved back home and went to work for a small contract security firm, but ultimately I had the opportunity to come over to Phoenix Children's Hospital. And being from the Valley, it was very special for me. And so I spent really 22 and a half years growing the program. And this picture here is a beautiful picture of the expansion that was completed back in 2010. But you see Camelback Mountain in the background, just a very beautiful picture and just all the great work that happens in pediatric healthcare. Here's also a photo I'd like to share with another legend in Arizona. That's Tex Earnhardt in the picture there, along with our security team, who's a great donor of the hospital as well. And so really enjoyed spending time with just our teams and just the great work we did throughout healthcare in that time. So over the years in my time within healthcare, I was always driven to really do more. And so I really became a student of healthcare, which led me to doing a master's degree, became board certified in healthcare management, and then was also certified in security management through IHOS, the International Association for Healthcare Security and Safety. Just really the drive and the passion within me, which led to the opportunity to move to Dallas, Texas, where I live now, and to come work for Baylor Scott and White Health. It was very special for me living in the Dallas area, not that just because we're the world champions in baseball, Texas Rangers. I'll also add we will be the 2024 world champion Dallas Cowboys coming up after this season as well. But no, enjoy all we do at Baylor Scott and White Health. We are one of the 12th largest health systems in the nation, the largest nonprofit in Texas. We just do a lot of great work in the community and what we're able to do. And in my role at Baylor Scott and White, I'm the Vice President of Public Safety, so I have the opportunity to oversee police department. This is Lieutenant Vaughn, and at the time of this picture, she was a sergeant, so if you're looking very closely, you see sergeant stripes, but she's now a lieutenant. And the tie here, her and I bonded when I first arrived in Dallas. Her son played football at Arizona State, and so we talked a lot about that. She spent a lot of time in Tempe, very excited for her. Her son did transfer to Michigan, so he was part of the national championship Michigan team. He was a starting left tackle, and so very exciting for her and getting ready for the draft coming up as well. The other thing I get to do in my role is really foster, young people. So this is a picture from some cadets who graduated from the academy last month in Temple, Texas. So you see me on the right-hand side of the screen. Just to my right is Lieutenant Pringle, one of our command leaders. You see the 5 cadets there. Chief Timmons is in the middle in the suit, and then Lieutenant Lewis is in the back left in the suit, and then Jonathan Steffel in the far left. The reason I shared that information about me as we start to talk about Alex Dees and his legacy and journey is that he's definitely had an impact on me in my career and the opportunity that I've had in order to grow as a person, and just grow in the community. And so that's why I wanted to share a little bit about me and who I am as we get into the story of Alex Dees. Before we jump into that, I just wanted to share, a lot of us are aware that farming and ranching is really important, and we see individuals like Alex Dees and others who spend their lifetime working on that. Well, this is why. When you look at this data, it's a little dated, but from 2017 to 2022, in terms of the impact of agriculture on the GDP. And as you can see, that top line, it's pretty impressive. So this is the hard work that all the ranchers, farmers, anyone associated with the industry is contributing to. So these are some pretty astonishing numbers, and this is why a lot of people do what they do. So let's jump into the Alex Dees story. Alex Dees was born on January 20th, 1940 in Yuma, Arizona. He was the oldest boy of 16 children. So I know a lot of people gasp at that with the 16 children. His father was a row crop farmer that settled in the area in the 1920s. So he was raised on the family farm that had cotton, corn, few dairy cows, few beef cows, some teams of horses, different things of that nature. In the picture there you see of his parents, and that is actually his youngest brother, Felix Dees, who passed away in 2021. And I'll share with you, of the 16 children, there are 2 that are still living today. That's his brother Elmo and sister Mel. The other thing I'll share is just growing up, as he shared with me over the years, is really had a good childhood with having 4 older sisters. He learned to cook and sew pretty good, and so that's something that he maintained throughout his life. But also that just he enjoyed working with his father and with others. And by the time he was 7, he would go out and he would work in the fields all day, drive tractors, trucks, other things at 7 years old. So that was certainly before OSHA or any other agencies were taking a close look at those type of things. So from there we get into high school, where Dees really excelled in showing cattle and was a member of the Future Farmers of America, won numerous awards, whether showmanship at the Yuma County Fair, and that's really where he started getting into judging, what they call an alternate judge, which is judging any type of animal. So not only cattle, but poultry, sheep, other types, and that's where he really, developed a fine eye for those type of activities. And the FFA today is really a great organization. They do a lot of work in terms of youth, and that's really where it started with his passion for that, in addition to growing up on the family farm. After high school, Alex Dees attended Arizona State College back then, and so I found this brochure or bulletin catalog from right around the time that he would have been there. You see it's listed as Arizona State College. During that time is where it transitioned to a university as well. So I thought that was a neat fact. On the right-hand side, just some key pictures of students on campus there. So he attended Arizona State for about 2.5 years, in which he had odd jobs around and stayed with family members on the south part of town. And after about two years or so, had some financial restraints, and then returned to Yuma to work in a local dairy. But prior to going to college, he really wanted to go to college and become a veterinarian. That was really his dream and his passion. He was advised by some instructors and others that he should really change his major and course of study, because back then it was hard for a black to get into veterinarian school. And so he did change and studied animal sciences throughout his time at Arizona State. So after returning home, he was hired by Floyd Newcomer in 1960. After he worked at some local dairies, Newcomer had followed his career throughout his high school days of showing cattle and just the success that he had there. Mr. Newcomer, very instrumental individual in the Yuma Valley area. Not only did he own a very large cattle company, he also owned a lot of produce, lettuce, things of that nature. Just an outstanding individual who knew that Alex Dees was someone that he certainly wanted working in his operation after following him through high school. So once he brought Alex Dees on board, he was his herdsman and really involved in the cattle operation in terms of showing, fitting, and some other things we'll talk about as well. One of the things that Mr. Newcomer was raised and heavily involved with is Brangus Cattle. So there you see a nice picture of a Brangus bull. And Brangus, they're beef cattle derived from crossing American Angus and Brahman stock, which we'll talk a little bit about. And the percentages to have a registered Brangus animal is 5/8 Angus and 3/8 Brahman. So on the left-hand side of your screen is an Angus bull, and on the right-hand side is a Brahman bull. So when you look at the Angus, which Brangus are 5/8, so mostly Angus, but what they get from the Angus side in that 5/8 is great meat quality. Everyone's pretty familiar with the marbling and the great quality of Angus beef, right? And so a Brangus animal grades out the same as an Angus animal, even though they're only 5/8, and so that's certainly a benefit. Other benefits from the Angus side is low birthing rates, mothering ability. They take really good care of the calves. And when you're in the cattle business, it's all about the calves and making sure that they survive and that the cows are going to take care of the calf. And so Angus have that natural quality. On the right-hand side of the screen with the Brahman bull, what they bring, number one, is heat tolerance. They really do well in the heat. Unlike Angus, don't do as well in the heat, where Brahman do. Brahman are also disease resistant, and so it's a great quality. When you put those two together, you have an animal that does well in any part of the country, but also an animal that has great meat quality, so easy to produce, so you really do have a good product. And so Mr. Newcomer was very involved in the early days of the Brangus. And so the International Brangus Breeders Association, which originally started in 1949 as the American Angus Breeders Association and then transitioned to the IBBA, Floyd Newcomer served as the president from 1957 to 1959. So that gives you an idea of just how involved he was in the Brangus breed at the time. And as we get further down, you'll see what the influences those did have on Alex Dees as well. So in 1962, when he's working for Floyd Newcomer, Alex Dees joined the International Brangus Breeders Association, and I'll share with you, so his member number is 972, which is now part of the foundation. The reason I say that, to give you an example, I'm a member of the IDBA as well, and my member number is 346,487. So it gives you an idea of he was very early in the development of the association at number 972. He also attended AI school in 1962, and at that point became more involved in the breeding decisions and program that Floyd Newcomer was developing at the Yuma Valley Cattle Company. And so here you see a picture of young Alex Dees with his crew, and you see they're at a livestock show with the company vehicle, Uval Ranch, Yuma Valley Cattle Company. So this is Alex Dees showing a famous bloodline, a bull by the name of Black Duke. And so this is right around 1962. And so Black Duke is a bull that was bred and calved May 1st of 1959. So prior to Alex Dees working for Floyd Newcomer. But as the bull matured, Alex Dees was responsible for breaking the bull in terms of show cattle, getting him ready for shows, and he showed the bull a lot. And so he got a lot of credit, Alex Dees did, for Black Duke, but really, as he shared with me, it was because he showed the bull so well, and the bull did do very well, won a lot of shows, but also just in terms of the ability after that. One of the things when you look at this Brangus bull, a few things you notice is he's got a really nice head on him. So even if you're not familiar with cattle, you look at cattle, you can look at this picture and see that he has a really nice head, a masculine look to him. And you can also see along his back line, good length. Length is really good. Now, one of the things that's a little odd in this picture is that he's pretty short. So if you think back to the 1960s, this is how they like their cattle, pretty short. We've got some other pictures that they get a little bit taller, but this was really what started something that's great in terms of the bloodlines in the cattle industry, but something that really launched Alex Dees' career as well. As I mentioned, he wasn't part of breeding to get to Black Duke, but really more importantly is what happened after that. So after Black Duke won a lot of shows and just with his confirmation, from there, Alex Dees was responsible for the breeding that took place after that. So a lot of the offspring from Black Duke, how they bred, how they managed that, really led to a lot of success, but it started with this bull here being Black Duke. This is a photo here from 1963 of Alex Dees showing at the Arizona National Livestock Show, which throughout this presentation, you'll hear a lot about the Arizona National Livestock Show, which really goes back to Dees' days in high school, in showing, traveling to Arizona National, so you'll see that a lot. Again, when you look at this female here, not real tall, but certainly a champion. Another photo from 1964 of a champion Brangus female, and you see Floyd Newcomer, who's on the left-hand side of the screen. Great picture here. Alex Dees shared with me that when you look back over his career, there's certainly some key points, and one of those key points was being hired by Floyd Newcomer to come work for him, which really felt like launched his career. When you think back, just the involvement that Floyd Newcomer had with the Brangus breed, that really got Alex Dees involved in that, and really credits Newcomer with launching his career. And so it's fun to look back at the pictures of them together, and it's not many, but there are a few of them together and showing back in the 60s. Another fun photo from the late 60s of Alex here was probably working with some high school students, judging at the Yuma County Fair. And again, just part of the community and giving back to the community. And one of the things that I wanted to share going back to his high school days in the late 50s is that I wanted to share a story that he shared with me, which was, back in the 50s, the judging team, FFA group, they were going to a show, somewhere, and I don't remember where, but at the time, this particular hotel that they were staying at did not allow blacks to stay. And so the team decided that, well, if Alex can't stay there, then we're not going to stay there. And so they went to another hotel and went on and had a great show. But always remember that story. And throughout his life, he certainly had those challenges, which we'll talk a little bit more about. But again, he never let that impact him, continue to move forward and certainly have a very successful career and work with a lot of different people and making sure that they were accomplishing and reaching their goals as well. So timeline's off a little bit, but going back to 1959, Dees did marry, have 5 children, 2 girls and 3 boys. So this is a picture actually from the late 70s. So his oldest daughter is not pictured and his youngest son is not in there, but you can see off to the right-hand side of the screen. Also in the 60s, so this is one of my favorite photos. One of the other jobs he had for Mr. Newcomer, as I mentioned, Mr. Newcomer was involved in various businesses, and one of those was buying quarter horses off the racetrack, in which then Alex Dees would take the race horses and train them, turn them into Western pleasure horses for then Mr. Newcomer to sell or to use throughout the ranch and the operation. And so this was a horse that he shared with me that he had a tough time, getting him trained and getting him going, but ultimately he was able to get it done and accomplish the task. And so that's one of my favorite pictures. And also throughout the 70s, we'll get into, Alex Dees did a lot of roping, a lot of team roping. We'll talk about that as his sons grew up. They all roped. And also in the time, it was tough to where he couldn't buy a lot of the good mares and good horses. And so he got his own mares and good stud and raised his own horses. And really just shows the talent in terms of raising any type of livestock. He's certainly known as a cattleman. But he certainly can raise any type of animal and certainly was a great horseman as well. So as we get to the late 60s, Mr. Newcomer passed away, unfortunately, in 1966. And so Alex Dees, as being the head herdsman, he managed the operation for a year while the estate was working through how things were going to be settled. And after that, in 1968, the cattle were sold to John Todd of Tucson. And so John Todd, seeing the value in Alex Dees, offered Alex Dees a job to come work for him in Tucson and manage his ranch and operation with the Brangus Cattle. And so Dees did go to Tucson and work for John Todd until he returned home in 1971. And John Todd is really a great lifetime friend of Alex Dees. Unfortunately, John Todd passed away last year in 2023, but they certainly had a special relationship, and John Todd would continue to come out to Arizona National Livestock Show and visit with Alex, spend time with Alex. Always spoke very highly of him. And so this picture is actually from Alex's 55th birthday party in 1995, and so that was one of the few pictures we could find with him and John Todd. So after 1971 and moving back to the ranch, since the early 60s, Dees had started putting together cattle of his own, just some good females influenced by the Black Duke bloodline, and then also figured that he's going to start a business of his own in terms of raising and showing registered Brangus cattle. Also got involved in a feeding service, which means that you take in cattle from other ranches, you get them show ready, and then they go back and have a successful show career. And so he was hitting the ground running in terms of starting a business. There's a nice aerial view of the ranch. I believe roughly around the late 80s, I believe is what it looked like from an aerial view. But as they transitioned from the ranch, it took several years to clear a lot of the land for pasture, so it's certainly a process. It's not a quick process, but it's certainly a process that took several years to put into play. And this is a sign that is still at the ranch today, just in terms of being a registered Brangus breeder, and that sign would have been prominent there throughout the business and remains there today. So the early years of his business were a challenge. Like many new businesses, it can always be a challenge. And so one of the other things that was really significant in his life is in 1974, he was able to win a grand champion female in Kerrville, Texas, by the grand champion female. And so this really put him on the map from a national level in perspective in terms of what he was able to accomplish. And so there you see a picture of the 1974 female, and very exciting that the female sold after the show. It's pretty common after a livestock show, you have a livestock sale. And so she was obviously the top seller, and she sold for $10,500 after the show, which doesn't sound like a whole lot of money now, but if you adjust that for inflation, that's just under $70,000. So quite an accomplishment for that. The other part of it too is that it was really surprising for people, because here's a black guy from Yuma, Arizona, that just won grand champion female. So that certainly got a lot of attention as well. This is also one of my favorite photos that is taken from an Ebony article, which I'll share in a minute, but it's him holding the trophy that he received for winning that grand champion female in 1974. So while he's working throughout his business, continuing to be a part of the community, always was focused on the community, giving back to the community, and part of that was he served on the Yuma County Sheriff's Posse. So you see a larger picture there on the left, and then on the right, zoomed in a little bit, so you can see him sitting there with the posse members. And like I mentioned, just really continue to give back, serve the community, work with the youth of the community, and that's one of the ways that he was able to do that. So as we get to the mid-'70s, after the big win and getting a lot of national attention, Ebony decided to do an article on him. And so this article appeared in the 1976 edition of Ebony magazine. And so you can see on the right just a champion breeder. And I remember him sharing with me that he was really excited about this article, because at the time, going back to 1974 when he won the Grand Champion Female Award, is that he was getting a lot of attention for himself, for Alex Dees. But what he liked about the Ebony article is that it really focused on his whole operation and his brothers and his parents and his family, his children. So he was very excited to really share that with the world in terms of the article overall. So you see in the middle section of the article at the top there, he's standing there with his parents, visiting with him, and visiting various meat packing places and just work around the ranch. So as we move throughout the 70s, Dees continued to show and attend a lot of livestock shows, including some pretty big livestock shows. Denver Livestock Show, Houston, one of the largest. And so to have an opportunity to show there, you really get a lot of exposure to the industry and meet a lot of people. Also during that time, there was a film that was filmed at his ranch called The Black West, which is it's a nice piece of work that he had some cameos in as well. So just really, for a new business, keep in mind, just really started his business in 1971. So here, nearly 5 years later, it's had a lot of success and has really started on a path to continue that. As we move into the late 70s, you see there's quite a few production sales that they would have in Yuma, Arizona. So this is actually a picture or information from the 1979 or 1978 sale catalog in Yuma. You notice at the top, the name of that bull, the Grand Champion bull, is 80 Grand Duke 70. So you notice the Duke in there, so that does go back to the bloodlines of Black Duke. And so heavily influenced still throughout his herd in the late 70s and beyond. So another sale catalog from, this is roughly 78, 79, and on the left you see that same picture of Black Duke, just kind of outlining the bloodlines and how you still see that influence. On the right, I put in, because you notice the breeders that were involved in this particular sale. And you notice on the bottom right is Elmo Dees. And so there was a time in the late 70s where Elmo Dees had his own herd of Brangus cattle that he ran under the MO brand. And so he was part of that sale. And Elmo himself had a lot of great knowledge just in terms of cattle and farming and really a family business. So the photo I included of Keith, his youngest son, just kind of moving a herd in at that time in the late 70s. So as we move into the 80s were tough. The economy was unstable, and then also Alex Dees went through a divorce. And so at that time, he decided to merge his cattle with C&D Brangus. You look at more opportunities, more land, more things that could help overall, but unfortunately due to drought and other circumstances, forced liquidation, and then started off on his own again, around the mid 80s. You notice that picture there from the 1984 Los Angeles County Fair. It's a pretty nice Brangus bull. And I mentioned, you see a little more height on him, so this is, compared to what they were looking like in the 60s. He looked really tall there compared to that. But when you look at that bull there, you see another nice head. Not as masculine as you may see on Black Duke, but a really nice top line. And remember the length that we talked about. So you see that length. Overall, very nice looking, clean Brangus bull. So as we work throughout the 80s, Dees continued to gain national recognition, win awards, but really, I think that's when he hit his stride in terms of judging. Really gained stature as a professional judge. There was certainly probably some other local black judges throughout the country, particularly in the South. But is rumored to be the first black judge to be recognized on a national level and judge a lot of the large shows. So I mentioned Denver, Houston, San Antonio, other shows where you're really going to have the top breeders in the country and you're going to gain a lot of national recognition. And so he really enjoyed doing a lot of judging and spent a lot of time really perfecting that. So in 1988, he had the opportunity to meet Willie Mae Crosby. And so that is a picture of them in at one of the various events that they attended as well. So as we move up into the 90s, Dees continued to win awards, inducted to the Arizona Hall of Fame, various articles, really just acknowledging his reputation in the industry and just really being respected as a Brangus breeder, a rancher, throughout the country. And here you see a picture of him with his mother right around the early 90s. This is another picture from his 1995 birthday party with his mother and his sister, his youngest sister. And so that was quite the party. I remember attending that, and just a lot of family, a lot of friends, and so there's a lot of good pictures looking back. So as we worked throughout the 90s, I mentioned as he really focused on judging, one of the things they do for a lot of judges is they'll give you a buckle for judging your show. So here you see is a buckle from judging a Brahmin show, going back to his high school days of really being able to judge any type of animal, and that he did. And he judged a lot of Brangus, but he also judged a lot of Angus, judged a lot of Brahmin, and then you also see here, actually, I'll jump back to that. I'll show you later another buckle, but as you can imagine, in his home, he had a lot of buckles, a lot of trophies, a lot of things, just from being in the industry and being recognized. So by the late 90s, he had reduced his amount of time showing and really focused a lot on judging and consulting. Like many businesses and business people, you have to look at ways of diversifying. So by this time, after decades of being in the industry and his knowledge, he was really sought after in terms of that consulting piece. So large ranches would bring him in to consult on their herds, how they can improve, what can they do to produce a better quality animal. And that consulting really took him all over the world. I know he spent a lot of time in Hawaii. A lot of people may not realize that Hawaii has a lot of big ranches, and so certainly a lot of consulting there, a lot of consulting in Mexico and other places as well. So spent a lot of time doing that and judging. Slowed down a little bit from showing, but this was from a show in Tucson in 1998. And you see my mother there on the right-hand side of the screen that I will point out that I love that hairdo. It certainly looks like a mullet, which is a little ahead of its time, but certainly recognize that. And then also too, Dee spent a lot of time really focused on the junior shows, not just judging other classes, but really the junior shows is really where he spent a lot of time and his focus and enjoyed talking with the kids and making sure that they were understanding, what they were doing, and that really preparing for the next generation of ranchers. So as we get up into the 2000s, continue to receive awards. So in 2002 was the show was dedicated, Arizona National Livestock Show was dedicated to him. I mentioned that Arizona National is going to come up quite a bit in the presentation, and again, another milestone in terms of 2002 and being the show dedicated to him. And in that picture there, you see just to his left is his oldest daughter, Dwella, and then on the far right is his youngest son, Keith. And in the middle there's a picture that a local artist had drew to commemorate him being the dedicated at the Arizona National Livestock Show. So this year, I think this may have been a little out of sequence. This may be more towards the late 90s, but another champion bull. This was at the Arizona State Fair, not the Arizona National Livestock Show, but the Arizona State Fair in October. And again, if you look at the bull's head, very masculine, nice top line, that length is there, and some good height as well. So this was a bull that won a lot, and unfortunately, the bull had a freak accident and it had died only after being shown for about, I believe, 2 years or so. But I remember Alex Dees commenting to me that he felt like that was the best bull that he ever raised, which that says a lot. When you think just the years in cattle that he was able to be around and raise. And I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if this particular bull, if those bloodlines go back to Black Duke as well. So as we get into the early 2000s, one of the things, if you remember, that was becoming really popular is websites, right? Now, obviously, the internet and websites were around, before that, going back to the mid-'90s, late '90s, even before that, but from a business perspective. And so right around mid-2003, got the idea, you know what, I would like to build a website for Alex Dees and Dees Brothers Brangus and give it to him as a Christmas present by the end of the year. So started off on the project, hired a web designer, and we went to work in designing it and in researching and history. So this is actually a picture of the original, the home page that I printed out on photo paper, and I actually had him sign it. And so this is actually in a frame that's in my home, one of my favorite pictures. But I still like this. As I was putting together this presentation, as I look back at that home page, I mean, to me, it still looks really good. I mean, some very clean lines, very easy to follow, just the transition with the colors. But more importantly, you see on the left-hand side, this website's a tribute to Alex Dees, for over his 43 years of hard work and dedication to the cattle industry. So I was very excited for this. And he really hit the ground running. At that point, he was very involved in emails and did a lot of work via emails and communication and website. And so not only was it a tribute, but it was also really handy from a business perspective where potential buyers could go and learn about and see what bulls and heifers were available and learn a little bit about the history and could book some judging and consulting things as well. So very excited about that. As we worked throughout the mid-2000s, another milestone is that he was chosen to be the first black Grand Marshal of the Yuma Silver Spur Rodeo and Parade. And so very exciting there in Yuma. And then also a milestone was also the first black teen queen. And so that's the article that the Yuma Sun did, recognizing those two things in 2006. Then also in 2007, he received the Pioneer Award from the International Brangus Breeders Association, another outstanding award. He received a huge bronze sculpture, and so something very special that there's only been very few individuals and ranches that have earned that through the International Brangus Breeders Association. So there's a couple pictures from the actual parade. You see on the left as the Grand Marshal, he was certainly mounted. So for most Grand Marshals, they'll let you ride in a vehicle, a wagon. They told him, no, you're going horseback. You're the one that can do it, so you're going to do it. And so there he is leading out. And of course, with that came a lot of media interviews, just kind of capturing the history of the moment of the day, which was certainly special. I mentioned continuing to do some judging throughout that. So this is a buckle from judging a junior American Brahman show. You see his name there on the left as we continue with that. Then also this is what I was referring to earlier in terms of judging longhorns. So this is a buckle from judging a longhorn show, which judging longhorns is pretty unique in terms of how you have to judge that, and you really have to depend on your ring help to keep the animals moving around from there. But again, just the expertise of being able to judge and do a lot. Arizona National. So we moved to 2007. At the end of 2006, at the livestock show, he was asked to do a ranch display. So one of the committees at Arizona National, each year they would ask the breeders and ranchers to put together a ranch display that individuals could walk by and just learn about ranches and things that are relevant to the livestock show. And so he was asked to do that in 2006 and reached out to me and said, hey, what should we do? Should we do this? I said, yeah, let's do it. So I was thinking about, what can we do that's a little bit different. I mean, it's great to have pictures and walk by. You see the display there. We certainly have that as well. But I thought, well, why don't we do a documentary that then we can just loop and play in the background so people can actually see things that are going on at the ranch, hear him talk about certain things. And so we set off on the mission to do that. So in October of 2007, I had a good friend of mine, John Beckman, who was in the radio, television, film industry. And so we went down and we started making Dees Brothers Brangus. And so on the left is the opening of the video, and then on the right, it's a little bit tough to see, but that's us sitting down interviewing Alex Dees for the documentary. Then also included in the documentary, because we really were focused on Dees Brothers Brangus and talking about the ranch. So on the left is sitting down and interview with Elmo Dees, and then on the right is sitting down and interviewing with Melvin Dees. One of the other things when we were down at the ranch as part of just the overall project is John and some other film guys that were with us took a lot of pictures. And so this was one of the pictures. I can't remember whether John took this one or Jay took this picture, but this came out really well, and it's very special just from a brand perspective. When you look at that brand, if you're reading brands, you read from left to right, and so any brand that's on its side is referred to as lazy. So when you read that brand, it reads as a lazy AD brand. And so really what that brand, means to Alex Dees and now the foundation is just a brand of quality. So you could really see that in the picture there. That really came out nice. So as we moved to the end of 2009, Alex Dees was inducted into the National Multicultural and Western Heritage Museum in Fort Worth, Texas. And so another, just achievement. And I'll take the opportunity now to point out, so even in 2009, after decades and decades of success in his business, being at a national level, it was still very hard to get finance for certain things, to get a loan from the bank, even after having so much success. And so, again, certainly didn't keep him down. You keep moving and you find other ways to liquidate things and diversify and continue to move on. So at the ceremony, the Hall of Fame, which was a great ceremony to attend. A lot of us went out for that in Fort Worth. And so in this picture here is his two daughters that are on the outside of the young lady in the hat. She was on the board with the museum. And one of the things that's special too is that his two daughters, Dwella and Cynthia, flew in and surprised him. He was not aware that they were going to be in attendance. And so as we were getting ready and kind of went down to start the reception, all of a sudden they were there. So he was very excited about that. It was certainly a great moment. So this is one of my favorite pictures, not just because I look really young, but mostly because, when you look at Alex Dees, and Dean Smith is the individual on the right. So let me just take a few minutes and tell you about Dean Smith. Dean Smith played college football at the University of Texas. He won a gold medal in the 4x1 relay in the 1952 Summer Olympics. Okay, let me say that again. He won a gold medal in the 4x1 relay in the 1952 Olympics. After that, brief time in the Army, so he's a veteran. After that, he played 2 years, I believe, of pro football with the Rams and the Steelers. And then from there, obviously with his athletic ability, said, I really want to get into movies and television. So he became a stuntman, which ultimately led to him, being an actor, in which he was in probably 6 or 7 movies with John Wayne, many other Westerns. One of my favorites is Rio Lobo from 1970. He had a pretty big role in that. And so it was just fun to see the connection between Dean Smith and Alex Dees. And they really talked a lot about, just cowboying. Not just that, but also about just the athletic background. A fun fact about Alex Dees is that he's a huge sports fan. Loved football, basketball, baseball, which we'll talk more about. So they really bonded, so it was fun to see those two talk about things. Also, the second couple from the left were good friends of Mr. Alex Dees. They lived in Yuma. Sylvester Mayberry and his wife had also flew out to Fort Worth and surprised Alex Dees for this event. Also in that picture in the back, in between his two daughters, is Joe Beaver, who is an 8-time world champion rodeo contestant. And so he was there as part of the event, and so really had a good time as a group, and that's one of the group pictures that we took. As we started a new decade in 2010, we had the opportunity to go back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a family reunion, and so we had the opportunity to return to the museum. And so this is a picture being at the museum on a Saturday with a youth group that's there, again, talking with the youth about ranching. And the youth were very excited. They had an opportunity to meet one of the Hall of Fame members, and so it was a nice event. So also pictured here are the founders of the museum, Jim Austin in the green shirt, and then Gloria just to the right of Alex Dees. Just outstanding the work they do in terms of the National Western Heritage Museum Hall of Fame. On the left-hand side of the screen is Pamela Palmer Henderson and Ricky Henderson. So Pamela Palmer is our cousin, my mom's first cousin, and so she is a supporter of the foundation, and certainly enjoyed spending time with Alex Dees as well. But also want to talk a little bit about Ricky Henderson. For those that may or may not remember Ricky, certainly want to throw out some of his stats, which every time I look at these, I get pretty impressed when you look at what he was able to accomplish as a baseball player. And I mentioned that, Alex Dees had a special connection just with sports in general. When the connection with Dean Smith and what he was able to accomplish, but also with Ricky. And so Alex Dees and Ricky enjoyed a very special relationship. Ricky purchased cattle from Alex Dees, and that Ricky had on his ranch, up in Northern California. So they just enjoyed spending time together, enjoyed talking sports, and really you can see a lot of connections. And to me, even though Alex Dees wasn't technically an athlete, he certainly thought like an athlete. Because when you talk to those high-level athletes that win championships, that achieve things, it's an attitude, it's an approach that, no one's going to do it better than you, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that steal bases. There's a lot of people that score touchdowns. There's not many that do it the best and are in the Hall of Fame. And so I remember Alex Dees shared with me one time that he made a comment that, no one was going to outbreed him, when it came to something. So it's that attitude, it's that approach of trying to do it better, each time. So as we moved throughout the 2010s, he continued to continue to judge. Didn't show, but continued to judge. So this is a photo of him judging a show at Arizona National, again as well. So enjoyed doing that. In 2014, as he was really starting to slow down, health issues were starting to catch up. And this is an article recognizing him for being champion breeder at the 2014 Brangus sale in Marana. And so that's recognized from other breeders, just what he's done in the industry. And so that was exciting in 2014. So unfortunately, I mentioned in 2014, health really started to decline, really needed to slow down, and it had been avoided for several years. But in March of 2014, decided to have a complete dispersal sale at the ranch. And so on the left, you see the cover of what the program looked like. And then on the right, which I thought would be kind of fun to put in, are my handwritten notes. And so I was assigned a task during the sale. Myself and his oldest daughter, Dwella, were assigned to keep track of all the money. And so you'll see lot numbers and how much each went for, and this is several pages. And then at the end of the sale, we had to reconcile all of that. So certainly a lot of history in there. And unfortunately, just later that year, on November 6th of 2014, Alex Dees passed away at the age of 74. surrounded by family and friends. And there you see a picture of the headstone. One of the things about that picture that you see on the headstone that also appeared earlier in the presentation, that was actually taken at the 2009 Hall of Fame. It was actually taken by myself. Not that I'm a great photographer, but just happened to catch it at the right time. And so that's a picture that we'll use in a lot of our print media and other things, as it's just kind of a natural picture that it's very soft in general. So as we move to December of 2014, I mentioned Arizona National is going to come up quite a bit. So this is another special picture for me that is one of my favorites. And so after he passed away in November, that year in December at Arizona National, they renamed the Brangus show the Alex Dees Brangus Show. And so this was a champion female from the show. So starting on the left-hand side, you see my mother there holding the ribbon, myself, Otis Bunn, who's a nephew of Alex Dees. You see Reed Dees, his middle son, in the middle. You see Dondre Schuler next to him, who's in attendance here today. And then you see Larry Parker on the far right, and then Bill Morrison, two longtime friends and breeders, and then the young man who was showing the heifer. So very special picture there in 2014. So there's also other awards and recognition in memory. So this is from the Yuma County Fair, had put up a sign in terms of Champion Row in memory of Alex Dees being a true gentleman and legendary stockman. So after that, we thought about, I know for myself, my mother, others, looked at how can we honor the life and legacy of Alex Dees. And so, we thought about and came up with the concept and idea to start a memorial foundation. And so we formed a board of directors in 2017, filed our paperwork with the IRS. And on the right-hand side of the screen, you see where our current board members in 2024, my mother, myself, Mike Arbuckle, vice chair, is in attendance tonight. Ethel Manuel is here as well. Elmo Dees, Rick Demery, Tammy Crosby, and myself, having the opportunity to chair the committee is really, chair the board is very special for me. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you see our official letter received back from the IRS on July 17th of 2017, letting us know that we are officially a foundation, a 501c3, not-for-profit organization. And our mission is very simple. It's to encourage education, agriculture, and health. And three things that were very dear to Mr. Alex Dees. So as a foundation, we raise money. We raise money to provide scholarships for individuals looking to continue their education. And it doesn't have to be just focused on agriculture. We certainly get a lot of those applicants. We certainly encourage that. But it's about anyone who is really looking to move forward and continue their education, because that's what Alex Dees was about. It wasn't just what was happening in the agricultural world. It's just positivity and having success. And so we really focus on that as well. And primarily through events is where we raise funding. And so part of those events, Arizona National, each year at the show, we are there as a board, as a foundation to support the show and to be a part of the Alex Dees Brangus show. So these are some pictures of just past years of being at the show. We've also had booths set up to where we're selling merchandise for the foundation, again, raising more awareness on the foundation and just being involved in the show. As I mentioned, going back to the 50s when Alex Dees was in high school, and just the impact that the Arizona National Livestock Show had on him and his life. And so it's imperative that we're there every year and that we're supporting the show and primarily the youth as well. So this is a picture of a bull that's owned by the foundation. We certainly want to continue on with raising Brangus. And so what we like to do is really get back to having some of the Black Duke bloodline on the ground and really bringing that back and getting those bloodlines going. Something that's coming up for the Brangus IBBA is their 75-year celebration. And if you see on the left-hand side, it's tough to see. In the middle picture is a picture of Alex Dees and Frank Russell is included in that picture there. As they're preparing for the 75th celebration, there's been a lot of activity on the IBBA Facebook page, posting old pictures of breeders throughout the years. One of the reasons why this is special to me is you think back to 1974, and the 25th celebration is when Alex Dees won the Grand Champion Female. And so you look 50 years later and have the opportunity to attend the 75-year celebration will certainly be special. So we will certainly be there in Fort Worth, Texas in August to celebrate that. So I want to talk a little bit about his legacy as well. And so Alex Dees' grandson, Junior Dees, is a pro team roper. And so he's had the opportunity to rope in 2 NFRs, which is the equivalent of playing in the Super Bowl or the World Series. And so there you see a picture from 2022 of Junior getting ready to turn one for Levi Lord. And there's a closer picture of Junior with a couple of his horses. I included this one. You see Junior doing his work, but you see that's at Rodeo Houston. And I mentioned just the influence that the Houston show has had on Alex Dees, and having the opportunity to not only show there, but judge there and be a big part of the Houston show. So certainly wanted to include that. So getting into some of the other events we do, because of the history with the team roping and Junior and other things, we thought it'd be a great idea to start a team roping. So we put on a Memorial Foundation roping each year to raise funds. And it just so happened that the first one was held on January 20th of 2018, which was the birthday, which would have been the 78th birthday of Alex Dees. So that was special. And that was held in Yuma and also in the Sheriff's Posse Arena. If you think back to the picture I showed earlier of him in the Sheriff's Posse, they were standing out in front of this arena. So it was really nice to come full circle and to have our first event there. Another favorite picture of us ropers getting ready to go at that first event. On the far left is his middle son, Ree, myself, Otis Bond, Dondre Schuler, and then on the far right is Maurice Albritton, who is a nephew of Alex Dees as well. On the left, we give out buckles each year. Very nice buckles that we spend a lot of time designing. Always want to incorporate about the foundation, the Lazy 80 brand. And that's it's a very nice award for the ropers to win. On the right-hand side, we also do a silent auction in terms of making sure that we can raise additional funding as we work throughout the events. And just some pictures of some of the winners. You see Junior in there, Ree as well, Maurice from the first year, along with his granddaughter is in the picture on the right with the winners as well. A few other events we also do. We do a Western Tea each year. The first one was held in November of 2018 in Phoenix. You see the committee members. And these are some pictures actually from the recent tea in 2023. You may recognize some of those members there. Along with some others, there is the police chief, McCoy, his wife, and the Murburers as well. So we're excited about the support. Others that have attended the event and just really supporting the foundation. We also do a golf tournament. There you see Vice Chair Mike Arbuckle, one of his guests, probably just hit it, 300 yards or so, something like that. But most importantly, again, our scholarship recipient. So on the left is our first scholarship recipient was a young man by the name of Trent Fryer, who is from Yuma, Arizona. So you see me handing him a check there in 2018. And then on the right, Elmo Dees presenting a check to Anastasia, who was also from Yuma, Arizona. Those were our first two. And if you look, these are the years and the individuals that have received scholarships going back to 2018. I'll certainly point out that there's 5 states that are represented. We are a national foundation because Alex Dees, worked nationally, had an influence nationally, so it's important for us to recognize that on a national level. So with that, I'd like to wrap up with a special video and message from Alex Dees himself.
Alex Dees from Yuma, Arizona. Judge, a livestock judge. I judge a lot of shows all over the country, well, all over the world, I guess. United States and Costa Rica, Salvador, Philippines, Hawaii. So, been traveling all over. Enjoy it. But I mainly enjoy the youth show, and that's what they invited me down to judge this Longhorn youth show here. I've judged it one time before, I think 3 years ago, and a lot of participation, but it seems like it's more kids showing this year than it did then. I guess because I'm getting older and then walking around, it seems like it's more. But the kids was great, and I'll tell you what, the cattle really improved. I'll tell you, we just had a lot of super cattle, and some of those old classes was real hard because the depth of quality was way down, and you was trying to find a first place, and you got torn up on the top end that you're trying to select from. So that get a little difficult. Kids was great, really a lot of very polite kids, and they yes sir, no sir, and just very polite. And the people that had some young people, I'm sure the college kids was helping me in the ring, and they was just super. And Larry Barker was running this deal, and him and I go way back, and Larry's a good man. He does a lot of work for the youth kids, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come down here. I judge a lot of shows, but I don't do that many youth shows anymore, so I just really enjoy that. I'm Alex Dees.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Learn an awful lot. First, I can't let things go without talking about hats in the family. I saw the hat in one of the earlier pictures that Willie Mae has. And the one you're wearing, is that an homage or a tribute? That's identical to the hat that Alex had in those photographs.
It is. This is my favorite hat. This is the one that I was wearing with the picture of Alex and Dean Smith. So it is special, but I see Dondre has a nice hat on as well as Sonny. So we always like to bring out the hats.
That's pretty cool. And come out over here for a second as I saw you. All right, I'm not going to get fresh, but I just wanted to see this. My goodness, look at that. Pull your jacket aside there. Whoa. That's.
It is. It is a special buckle. So this is a buckle that has my brand on it, and so it was a brand that Alex Dees helped me develop, and so it'll always be special for that reason. And he got me started in the cattle business as well with a small herd, and so as we developed that, so it certainly is special.
I love the modesty of that whole. What am I wearing? Look at that, folks. Come on. All right. One of the interesting things in this presentation, I think, was to realize that there's more to humor than watching lettuce grow. Most people think about agriculture and not so much ranching down there. One question I have, Alex's history certainly is unique, but were there other African-American ranchers or breeders that in the state or the surrounding area that did as much as Alex did?
Not as much. There certainly is throughout the country. You have some breeders. You have spread throughout, but not to that level. I mean, at the height of his operation, he probably had 1,000 head of cattle on his ranch, and to be sought after, as a judge and as consulting. So at that level, certainly unique.
And he may have been, probably one of the first then.
Absolutely.
And you think that's hard enough to get into that business, but I've learned over the years, African Americans working in agriculture on their own rather than being employed was something unique. Not many people, when you think of ranching, the Jewish community had ranchers, not a lot of them, but so it's fascinating to me to see these different groups coming together and doing this kind of work. And what's it like being around those animals?
It's fun. It really is. You get an appreciation, and like I mentioned earlier, a lot of us understand just how important the beef industry is, or food industry is, agriculture. But when you really see the hard work that goes into it, to producing, that animal or the product that you get at the store, you really gives you a different perspective. And doing it at that level is special. As Alex Dees shared with me one time, anybody could sell one, right? But when you get that repeat buyer that continues to come back, that's when you have something that's special.
I guess one of the other questions too is, you develop such a personal relationship with these animals. I've had a couple of horses in my life, and fortunately we don't eat horse meat here. Seeing those animals leave to become food, how does that feel?
Well, no, it can certainly be challenging. One of the things that set out, his operation is really raising seed stock, which is a little bit different. So those animals didn't necessarily go directly into meat production. So he would raise seed stock, just really a quality animal that another rancher could buy, put into their herd, improve their herd, that then would end up in the, down the line. And so it's not something I had to deal with a lot.
I like that better. Anyone have any questions? Yes, Lon.
What was the fate of Black Duke, and how many generations or sires have come out of that?
Great question. He lived a long time. Ultimately, he was sold. In terms of the generation, if you were to go onto the IBBA website and just search Black Duke, literally thousands and thousands of records that tie back to Black Duke, and they're all very individual. Everything from 80 Black Duke 11/3, 80 Black Duke 250, just hundreds and hundreds, probably even thousands of bulls that go back to that lineage of Black Duke, and you'll still see that influence. Looking back at those pictures, again, very good head, very good top line, that can really do good in any environment if you make them a little bit taller.
How did they breed them taller? I mean, that was a short amount of time from a short bull to a taller one. You would think evolutionary-wise it would take a little bit of time, but it was done in a rather short period.
It was, and that's the key with breeding, and having that eye to make sure you're getting that product that you want. You can picture the product and how you're going to get up to that product as well.
Yeah, I'll be right with you.
Did you use DNA in breeding?
Yes, that was a big part of the program. From an AI perspective, artificial insemination, DA tracking, the prodigy, a lot of that stuff. And that's one of the great things that the IBBA does in terms of tracking that. And you want to make sure you're tracking the quality and the production of those animals as well.
Yes, sir.
Well, hello. First, thank you for the presentation. I found it informative and enjoyable. Now, where can I see the documentary?
Absolutely. Feel free. I'll give you my card, and I will make sure you get a copy of the documentary that was done in 2007.
YouTube. You were talking about social media. Everything goes up on YouTube.
It does.
That would be a great one to see. And frankly, if you can share that with us, we will put that. Is it available online or?
I can make it available, certainly.
Okay, then we'll share that so people viewing this on Facebook and all of these presentations are archived, then we'll have that information available. So let me again thank you for a great presentation. Thank you, Mom, for giving an introduction. Don't go away yet. So, let's see here. I've got to, let me do this. We try to find things for the presenters that would be some token from the events we do. And we provided pen and ink drawings by Richard Nearing. Many of you know who he was, terrific artist. So I've got two here that they aren't exactly reflective of your life or Alex's life, but you might have seen that on the, it's called, here, Are you zooming in on that? Sure, Yak. Brianna over there. Oh. Anyway, that's for you.
Thank you very much.
And there must have been one of these laying around the ranch somewhere, an old wagon. So have those. And then also we have a token for your presentation today. Thanks in part to Friendship Village, of course. So one more big hand for Craig. And I know we're running a little bit late, but let me just point out a couple of things to you. We'll have one more lunch talk next month, and this is going to be rather special because Ben Furlong will be here. Ben Furlong was superintendent of Kyrene schools in the educational system for years, wrote several publications about Tempe and Kyrene, and is completing a book now on that he's calling Pueblo de los Muertos, the City of the Dead, which is in part of Tempe, and we hope to have that possibly next month if we can get everything through the printer. And then really a big deal is this weekend, this Saturday night. We have been doing for a number of years now, it started way back in the 2004, recognizing what we call Tempe legends. And those are folks, some you may know, some you may not know, who have contributed materially to our city in one way or another. And we think that this year, it's very special. Two names you should be able to recognize. Hans Olsen, who is a musician and achieved a lot of national acclaim, now lives back here, doesn't go out on the road. He's one of that group that will be recognizing. Ben Furlong also, and a fellow by the name of Vladimir Kwiatkowski. Ladmo, yes. He'll be recognized as a Tempe legend, and there's a couple of surprises that go along with this. So we hope that if you can attend, we'd love to have you do that. You can get tickets online or right here at the front desk. And we'd love to see you Saturday night. It'll be right out here in the plaza. I wish I remember, who's catering it? Taco Calafia. So, pardon? A taco bar. So don't expect pizza, don't expect chop suey, but a lot of tacos, and even a couple of, we'll be doing a little bit of, you know what I'm talking about, I can't mention that otherwise. And there are so many other events coming up. We've got all of them on the table in the back, so I hope that you'll take time to just pick up those little flyers, and if something's interesting, be sure and come and attend. Also, we have a brand new exhibit, if you have time before you leave today, is for Cesar Chavez, and it's unique. The family, we just learned today, really would only permit this museum to put on such an exhibit. So we're very proud to be able to do it, and it's beautifully executed. Also, some great history and photographs from the Alex Dees collection right over here. And also, how many are members? Oh, that's very good. So you aren't members, get out. I have some private messages for our members because we love them. We have membership forms in the back, and it's so cheap that you might as well just go ahead and become a member. We need that support. That's when we go out and get grants. We're able to make things happen because of our membership. And with that, I think I've covered most everything. I suspect what you'll learn next month from Ben Furlong will be rather extraordinary, because Tempe is such a dense urban city today. To think about what its life was before everybody came here, and the research he's done in this particular area of Tempe is rather extraordinary. And with that, thank you very much for today, and have a great month. Welcome to summer. It's going to be 90 today. We'll see you.